Providing expert insight to our salon and spa leaders creates winning business strategies, which is the purpose of our Coffee Talk series. And with all the changes that have been occurring in the beauty and wellness industry in the last year, I couldn't be more excited for today's episode with a very special guest. He's the ultimate educator and motivator and the founder of Grow My Salon Business, with a worldwide reputation based on over 30 years worth of experience in the hairdressing industry. He's also an international consultant with one of our very close partners, John Paul Mitchell Systems. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only Antony Whitaker.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Antony, welcome to Coffee Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Tonya, it's absolutely fantastic to have the opportunity to finally be on Coffee Talk. Over the last year of various lockdowns, I've watched quite a few, back issues. So it's great to finally be a guest on the show.
Well, I'm excited to have you. And I know that before you share any of your expertise, let's make sure to tell everybody, go ahead and hit the thumbs button below and make sure to subscribe to our MSI channel so you guys always have a front seat to our Coffee Talks. So, Antony, we've got a lot of things to cover today on today's episode. Are you ready to get started?
I'm always ready.
Awesome. So I know that you have shared tons of insights when it comes to the shifting of business models. Can you talk a little bit about that now with the pandemic and really how that's changed things for businesses and their business models for owners and for staff?
Okay, well, I think the most noticeable thing is that there's a perception, it's more than just a perception, that to be in less crowded spaces is a safer environment. So I think why we still have COVID, without a shadow of a doubt, clients are tending to gravitate more towards salons that are either studios or salon suites or very definitely small salons. So, I think those big salon spaces with 20 stylists and 20 clients in them. And, it's for a client going into that environment at the moment, they don't feel safe, no matter, how safe you are. So I think that the bigger salons are going to have more challenges going forward than the smaller units because, both staff and clients alike, feel safer in a smaller environment. So, I believe that the studios and the salon suites are going to come out of this in better shape than what the bigger salons are in all probability.
I never heard the concept of, I never thought about it that way, and it does make a lot of sense because of the smaller staff. So that's really interesting to hear.
Yeah, a lot of it's not necessarily based on any sort of factual evidence, but clients are, it's that expression, safety is the new luxury. And, it varies in different parts of the world without a doubt as to, how much, buy-in, so to speak, that people have about social distancing, etc. But, by and large, people are wanting to be in spaces that are less crowded, especially if they're going to be in there for a while. If they're sat in there for an hour and a half, whatever, having a color done, they're going to feel safer in smaller, spaces. But, I also see there's a downside to that as well, for the industry, because we've been heading in that direction anyway, particularly in the United States. A lot more salon suites, studios, smaller salons. And it's a perfectly valid business model, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm not sort of rubbishing it as a business model. It is the right thing for some clients. It's the right thing for some, stylists or salon owners that want to get started in a very small business. But, I'm not sure it's the right thing for the industry because it's sort of, the law of supply and demand. The more salons you have, and essentially each of these salon suites is a salon, it's a business unit of one, then the law of supply and demand sort of says that, the more supply there is, that the more likely people are to try and compete on price. And so I think that it won't do any good for salon service pricing. And that's a shame because if anything, they need to be going up. But as we get more and more competitors in the same space, I'm sure, your audience can sort of think about that and realize that there are a lot of people out there that compete on their price, not on their, service or salon experience or level of expertise. And so, that's not necessarily a positive thing, coming out of this as we go into 2021.
It's amazing how things have just really changed overall, and it's affecting, this industry purposely as well too. So thank you for sharing that. So as you know, at Millennium SI, we make it a priority for education. It's my department, one of the departments that I'm in. So I take huge pride on this, and we really, really, really try to take care of our clients in our, in the beauty and wellness industry. So this kind of comes with a two-part question. One, in the light of all of the, training and education that is happening, how have you seen education change? And as well, what are the trends that you're seeing for the future when it comes to education?
Okay, good question. And, I often think about how in times of war, and this isn't a war, but in times of war, that is when the greatest advances have been made in medicine. And the reason that they're made then is because there's so much pressure on them, because there's so many injuries that have to be dealt with. So there's a lot of advancement made, particularly in surgery, during any time of war. And I'm sure that's sort of obvious to the listeners as to why. Now, this isn't a war, but all of a sudden our lives have been changed dramatically. And something that was happening anyway was this transition to online learning. And, some people have taken that up, quicker and earlier and with more enthusiasm than what other people have. But, so what I suppose what I'm saying is this, is that it was heading in this direction anyway, and it probably would have taken 5 years to get where we are now. But because of COVID, it's sort of condensed 5 years of sort of gradually transitioning. It's just condensed it into the last, 10 or 12 months. And the uptake on online learning has been phenomenal because, now everybody is capable of jumping on Zoom calls or GoToWebinars or, Microsoft Teams or any of the various apps out there. And they're doing that with great regularity. So, and I think what people have discovered is that it's okay to learn online. It's okay to teach online. And although it does require some different skills for both the presenter and the learner, the transition into that has just been rapid. And I think that what people are finding is that there's actually a lot of benefits to it because it's more cost effective. It's more cost effective to put events on that are online. It's more cost effective, therefore, to attend online learning. It's not subjected to all the on costs. So what I mean by that is that, if I'm doing a seminar, for example, and people have got to fly in for it, or they've got hotel costs and they've got, trains and taxis and accommodation and sometimes food, etc. Well, it all mounts up. So all of a sudden, we've gone from that model of learning to an online learning space where, people can access education in their own time. They can do it in bite-sized pieces if they want. They can repeat it as often as they want. And they don't have to have time out of the salon. So, they're saving all round, pretty much in every area they're saving. And then, from a presenter's point of view, you can now reach an audience that is like so much, further spread. You're not limited by cities of a certain size where they can, get 100 people in the room or whatever to make it cost effective. You can, I'm doing an online learning program at the moment of my own, which I've launched. And we've got people on it from 16 different countries. And that's just amazing, like that you can do that. And the uptake has been that instant, so all around the world that this has happened. And the shift has just been phenomenal that people have embraced it. And, without a doubt, we are a very social industry. So on the other side of this, I'm not saying that online education will replace face-to-face. I think that, as an industry, we really like face-to-face. We like that social interaction. So that will still be there. But I think it will be there less. And I think we'll have a lot more online stuff. And then that'll be supplemented by, shows and more face-to-face learning opportunities. And even when COVID's over, so to speak, I think that will be one of the positives that have come out of COVID, and it will stick with us, long term, forever.
I definitely agree 100% with you on that. And that was some really great advice. And actually, I wanted to mention that, with everything that's happening, like you mentioned, with this whole virtual learning, we've actually implemented very similar things at here at Millennium. So we're having virtual on-sites and different webinars and seminars that we're doing that are live for our clients. And, just trying to give them more knowledge with everything that's going on, but still making it accessible, which I think is great. And it is the solution right now, right? It is amazing for clients. So amazing advice. And I hope that everybody watching takes a little bit of what you said and, can now share it with more members of their team rather than just sending that one core person, which again, like you said, is one of the benefits, right? It's cost effective. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a new world, and with the technology that we all have now, I mean, everyone's got an iPhone or an iPad or a MacBook or whatever their device is, and so it's very much a case of like any device at any time you can now access education. You can be on the train, you can be sitting on the couch at home, you can be sat up in bed, can't sleep at 2:00 in the morning. Anything is available to everyone at any time now, and there's a lot of positives, without a doubt, that will come out of that.
I agree 100%. There's no excuse anymore. No excuse. Everybody
Exactly.
can get educated.
Yeah, and I think that what you'll see is a flood of new providers coming into the market with online programs. Like anything, some of them will be good, some of them won't be so good. But I think that this year we'll see an avalanche of new people getting into the online education space, offering all sorts of education. Some of it will be paid for, and some of it, like predominantly the stuff on social media, will be free. And there's a lot of stuff, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. There is so much free content out there now. So, it's changed the access that people have to getting more information, better education. And so from that point of view, for the industry globally, it's definitely a positive, and it's definitely going to be a win for everybody.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what's out there. And I personally, too, myself, working in education, I, too, myself go online. I know we do things here at Millennium, always putting up something every Monday to make everybody aware of things. There's guides up there. So I get it. And I really hope that everybody watching today finds something that fits them, right? They find the right fit virtually, whether it's user guides or Instagram, TikTok, like you mentioned, wherever they're finding that source of knowledge. I think that, we're in the world of virtual right now. We're all stuck at home, but there's no excuse. So I love all of those bits and pieces of benefits. So I really hope our viewers today, guys, you got to go home and do it. Go ahead and do it. And we'd love to hear from you guys too. So if you want to put that in the comments and tell us some really great places that you guys have seen, go ahead and do that as well. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have one more question for you today. And that is, what steps can salon and spa staff utilize to improve business performance despite everything that's happening in the industry with all of the challenges?
Well, I'm a great believer that, you grow a business by growing the people in it. And, as an industry, we're really good at focusing on the technical and creative side of education. I mean, there's an avalanche of education. If you want to learn how to cut hair and color hair, etc., it's everywhere through social media. And we're good on the uptake of that. But I think as an industry, what we underestimate, is the other side of what's needed to make you successful. And that is learning all the soft skills, the communication skills, the people skills. And, because, success isn't just about the creative side. It's about having, a well-rounded, successful hairdresser has got the technical and creative skills, but they also have, I'm hesitating to use the word business skills, but that is what it is. At a personal level, understanding that, it is a business. And your creativity is really important. And I'm not suggesting this at the expense of creativity and being technically good at doing hair. I'm saying it's as well as. And what I mean by that is, it's important for hairdressers to understand that, that results count. And although it's not the, the sexy creative side of what we do, talking about numbers, talking about rebooking percentages, talking about client retention percentages, talking about, average bill, talking about frequency of visit, all of these things are what really drive a business success and drive the individual's success. So, I think that if I was a salon owner or a hairdresser out there, I would be focusing on those things every bit as much as their creative and technical growth. And that's pretty much what the course that I've recently just launched is all about. And I firmly believe in that. I mean, my background is very much on the technical and creative side of the industry, but as a former salon owner, it was just so blatantly obvious to me that was only going to take you, part of the way. And that if you really want to be successful, you have to focus, on the numbers. You have to focus on the business skills that make both an individual and a salon successful. I actually use a lot of John's data, John Harm's data about client retention and the 6 core growth indicators, because, I think that those things are magic. And, the real answer to your question, I think, comes down to if there was one thing that they should focus on, it would be client retention. Because, I often talk to people that say the single biggest problem that the industry has is client retention. And, based on the numbers that John talks about, that out of 10 guests, after 6 visits, you've only got 1 left. And with retention like that, that is the single biggest problem that I believe that we have as an industry. And I call that fixing the hole in the bucket. And, hairdressers are, they're exceptionally good at the social media side of things. They're good at getting new clients into a business. And Instagram is their weapon of choice. But getting new clients in is only part of what makes a business grow. It's getting them in is step 1. Step 2 is about turning them into regulars. And step 3 is then about keeping them for as long as possible. And I think that salons should really focus on step 2 and step 3 every bit as much as what they focus on step 1. So again, step 2 is turning them into regulars, and step 3 is keeping them as long as possible. Because as long as we have salons that have retention rates like that, in other words, out of 10 clients coming into your salon today, you've only got 1 of them left after 6 visits. I mean, that's atrocious. You can't grow if that is your marketing strategy. So that would be my number 1 thing. The other thing that I think sort of in line with that is that hairdressers need to look outside of the industry and look at what other industries are doing, to grow in challenging times. So, whether it's the hospitality industry or the retail industry or the entertainment industry, we need to look at both what they're doing from a marketing perspective as well as what they're doing from a health and safety perspective.
I actually really love that. And I love and appreciate all the little thoughts and insights in there too, kind of telling them to look outside the industry. And I think that'll be extremely simple for people in this industry just because they are so creative. It's going to be easy for them to kind of look outside the box a little bit. So I love that those are easy, obtainable things to help them kind of perform and grow in the industry now with what's happening with all of the struggle. So I wanted to say, I really, really appreciate you being here with us today and really being our guest for today's Coffee Talk. Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure, Tanya. It's been very enjoyable and I can't wait to have a sip of my coffee.
Well, let's have a sip now. Cheers.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We're going to cheers it out. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you guys always have a front seat to the Coffee Talks and the latest updates to our MSI family. We look forward to seeing you guys next time on Coffee Talk. Bye guys.